Alright, so this video is on Joanna Taylor. She wouldn't talk to me. She wouldn't do anything but text. So this is in our text messages. Well, not our text messages. It's actually in our Facebook Messenger, which is the reason that I still have it. Had it been just in our text messages, then when I lost that phone, I would have lost that evidence. Now, I did lose a lot of that evidence because most of the time when I'm asking people to please stop with the typing, please stop texting me and call, it's because I'm on a telephone. I can handle it better when I'm on a computer. I can answer the questions easier on a computer. When I was on Messenger with Joanna Smith Taylor, that's Derek Parrish's girlfriend, the one who asked him to stop yelling at me for 2 days. Her and Janine, who passed away, they both asked Derek to stop. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about Joanna Taylor, the things that she said that she would do to Maddie Boa, Alicia Bollinger, and Natalie Bollinger if I killed myself. Well, those are the things that people have done to me because Natalie killed herself. She killed herself the way that I was asking people to kill me. For an entire year after I left Virginia, over the way that people were treating me, not being able to see my friends and family. The only people that really talked to me was Aunt B, who is on steroids for rheumatoid arthritis and talks about poop. Or I could listen to Bob, my neighbor, talk about how everybody else in town is useless and a bunch of racist crap. Or I could listen to Susie talk a bunch of drunk stuff at me about how terrible everybody in town is. And she actually stabbed Bob Mick to death last year, by the way. Somebody else I know. Or I could go down and talk to Laura, who has a fucking shit ton of problems of her own that she tries to deal with. I mean, she is doing her best as the mother of an autistic child in a town where they want to press his buttons. I mean, there's the way that her son is, and then there's the way that her son is when you push his triggers. When Laura told the school said that he was having an outburst about once a week. So she told them what his triggers are so that they could be mindful of it. And then he start having an outburst every day. This is because instead of listening to her and not doing what it is that triggers him, they started intentionally doing what triggers him, trying to get him out of the school. Joanna Taylor and Derek, they were aware that I'm autistic. Ken and Leah, they were also aware. So is Natalie, and so is Maddie, and so is Alicia. I think Alicia was aware. I know for a fact that Maddie was. And I'm fairly certain that we talked, and me, Natalie, and Alicia talked a little bit about autism while I was there in Virginia. Now, the thing with Joanna Taylor Smith isn't just that she typed these things, it's the fact that I saved them. She can't take her words back. Natalie can't take her words back. Ted can't take his words back. Alicia can't take her words back. Maddie can't take her words back. Me, when I'm frustrated, my words don't go together right. And then people can assume whatever they want, do whatever they want. I need a calm environment. It's difficult for me to communicate with people, especially in texting. Talking with me is best. Not texting for 3 weeks while I'm having a worse and worse panic attack every time you text me. Like Joanna Taylor Smith, how long does it take you to type a text message? How long does it take you to call me and say, all right, Sean, how does Wednesday at 6 o'clock sound good for coffee? All right, I'll meet you there. And actually show up. That's not difficult. But it took 6 weeks for her to even call me back. I was in the process of trying to get Maddie Boa to sit down with me, an arbiter, Joanna Smith, to sit down between me and Maddie Boa and get this shit hashed out. I saved this. The things that Joanna Smith said that she would do to these people if I killed myself. The things that she said that she would do to Natalie and Alicia and Maddie if I killed myself. Natalie, Alicia, and Maddie's friends and family, and the police and the courts have done to me. Joanna Smith, I want you to think about that. I really want you to watch this video. Everything has been done to prevent me from speaking in court, and from making an actual police report, and from showing evidence, which is why I went to Facebook and why I went to YouTube. Your stories are on there too. Joanna, you and Derek getting screwed out there when the police went through a whole minefield of meth heads, and you can testify to this. A whole minefield of meth heads, and arrested the only people who were only fucking around with weed. Who else was selling down there at the time? Were Natalie and Alicia selling down there at the time? Were they, Joanna? That's a good question too. What year was that? Was that 2014? I think it might have been. We should ask Day Day. I didn't want to do any of this in public, and if I had had your help, it wouldn't be in public. Instead of me posting your words and telling your stories to the whole world, I would have gotten an honest day in court. While these villains came at me as a group, I got your support in words and in little pieces, one or two. Never strong enough or working together in solidarity enough to actually do anything because of paranoia, because of the things that the Bollingers and their friends and the police and the media were doing. And people had to be afraid of that, people with kids especially. And the media created that. The Bollingers created that. And Jeff Ritter created that by not coming forward. Joanna Smith created that by not coming forward. Derek Parrish, same thing. Tabitha Michelle Cook, same thing. All of these people who I invested in believing would come forward and make a police report and look at evidence. Every one of them failed me, and that's where my resources all went. To believing people who never came through, and to going to court date after court date after court date after court date, and therapy appointment after therapy appointment, and going to see public pretender after public pretender who doesn't show up, and going to see their investigator after investigator who didn't show up, and going down and trying to coordinate with people who don't have time but promised that they would go in to try to make a police report with me. And we just don't have time because I got to go after another court date and another court date and another court date. Meanwhile, trying to get the cops to take my report the whole time and getting them to understand that I have disabilities. I need help. I need help to make a report. I need help to show you guys the evidence. I'm overwhelmed out here and I'm alone. I needed the police to help me. I needed them to help me as soon as I got back to Boulder in 2016. I was back in Boulder by October 25th of 2016. I was so glad to be there for the first hour or two. I told these stories and then people wanted to be jerks. So I proved it by showing all of it. All of our text messages from start to finish with these people. And then you picked and chose little bits and pieces that you wanted to go carry off to these groups to pretend like your story made it right. Like your frame job made it right and made me guilty. Fuck the police. They need to do their goddamn jobs, and their body cameras need to force them to do so.